Hello and welcome to the Lex-Praxis channel. In today's video, I'll be discussing how to obtain a PENCOM Compliance Certificate in Nigeria. In this video, I'll explain what a PENCOM certificate is all about, who needs to comply as far as PENCOM is concerned, the requirements, the documents, and the step-by-step process for obtaining a PENCOM Compliance Certificate in Nigeria. But before I get right to it, I have a request to make. Please feel free to subscribe to our channel to get more insights on the legal tips as it concerns doing business in Nigeria. And also, like this video if you find it useful, and also don't forget to share it to someone who you believe will find this valuable. Now let's get right to it. What is a PENCOM Compliance Certificate? PENCOM's Compliance Certificate is simply the document that shows that the bearer of that certificate is in compliance with the legal obligations for PENCOM registration in Nigeria. Also, PENCOM is an acronym for the National Pension Commission. Now, why do you need a PENCOM certificate? Number one, you need it to demonstrate compliance, or you need it to show evidence of compliance with the Pension Reform Act, which makes it mandatory for all employees to be enrolled in the contributory pension scheme. In other words, if you are an employer of labor or you own a company and you have a minimum of 3 employees, it is mandatory that you have your employees enrolled in the the contributory pension scheme. So that is what that certificate shows, right? Now, the second reason why you need the PENCOM certificate is that you cannot bid for either government or corporate contracts without showing the PENCOM certificate. So you are most likely going to be disqualified for bidding for contracts, especially government contracts, without a PENCOM compliance certificate, right? And then finally, it shows business credibility. When you have the PENCOM compliance certificate, you assure your partners and potential stakeholders that you are actually legitimate and you know what you're doing in the business space. Now, the next thing we're going to consider is the documents and the requirements for PENCOM registration in Nigeria. Like I said, as part of the requirements, it is mandatory for any employer of labor that has at least 3 employees within their domain to have them enrolled in the contributory pension scheme. Now, what are the documents that are needed to process your PENCOM compliance certificate in Nigeria? The first one is you need to provide a certified list of employees of the organization as at the end of the last fiscal year, right? The second thing is there should be a certified rate of monthly pension contributions. So you'd have to specify the employer and the employee rates. Now, the rates relating to monthly emoluments are in compliance with the law, which I'm going to refer as we proceed in this video. It has to be a minimum of 10% for the employer, since it's a contributory scheme, and then the employee also contributes 8%. That makes it a total of 18%, right, for to be designated into the pension retirement savings account on behalf of the employee. Then the third requirement is evidence of remittance of monthly pension contribution for all employees that are listed. And then for organizations that have not been existing for the last 3 years, you need to show evidence of remittance of pension contributions from the date the company was formed. So this applies to newly formed companies. Then you also need to show evidence of remittance of all outstanding pension contributions and penalties. So in a situation where you just knew, you recently realized that, okay, you are supposed to comply with this, but all this while you haven't been doing it, you'll be assessed and be required to make those payments as penalty, right? And then you have to also show evidence of transfer of funds and assets prior to commencement of contributory pension scheme. So if you were actually complying, or you were eligible to comply even before this contributory pension scheme came into play, you need to show evidence that the funds has been transferred, the pension funds has been transferred to the required PFA or retirement savings account in compliance with the current mandate for contributory pension scheme. And finally, you need to provide evidence of a current group life insurance policy that is procured for the staff of the organization. The policy will specify the number of employees covered and the sum that is involved. Now let's talk about the step-by-step process for obtaining the PENCOM certificate, and we are going to restrict this to just new companies in Nigeria. Now the first requirement or the first step is that you need to obtain an employer's code, and you can get it from either a pension fund administrator or from the pension commission itself, right? The next step is that you create a retirement savings account with a pension fund administrator in favor of the employees. In Nigeria, we have many licensed PFAs or pension fund administrators in Nigeria. So you create that account with either of them. And then the third thing is that you're going to prepare an employee pension schedule. Now, you don't have to do it yourself. If you're engaging someone to process this yourself, you just have to provide the information about the name of the employees, maybe when they were employed, and how much is being paid currently, or how much they currently earn as allowance, right, or their salary, right? And then you also need to obtain a group life insurance policy from an insurance company. Of course, there are many licensed insurance companies in Nigeria, so just pick one of them and purchase a group life insurance policy in favor of your employees. And there you have it. These are the key things or the key procedures that you would getting this PENCOM compliance certificate is going to entail, especially if you are new to the system, or you are just enrolling into the PENCOM platform or system for the first time. These are the key things or registrations that will have to take place, right? Now, I want to highlight the pension contribution obligations, especially for employers, right? Beyond getting the certificate, it's important for employers to understand their obligations as employers of labor as far as this contributory pension scheme is concerned. Now, the first thing to note is the contribution rate. Like I mentioned earlier, the law says that the employer is a contributory thing. So it's not just the employee that is, deducting from the salary, right, to contribute to the retirement savings account. The employer also has to do that. So the employer is to contribute 10%, and the employee is also to contribute 8%. That makes the total of 18% that will be contributed on a monthly basis into the employee's retirement savings account. Now, the second thing to take note is prompt remittance. So the law mandates that these contributions should be made within 7 days after the employee's salary has been paid. The deduction should be made and the contribution made and paid into the designated savings account, right? And then the third thing to take note of is group life insurance. So beyond just the contributions, it is mandatory that employers will purchase a group life insurance company for all their employees, and it should provide a minimum cover of at least 3 times the employee's annual total emolument. So if the employee, for instance, is earning 70,000 a month, you multiply that by a year, you multiply it also 3 times, whatever is the total annual income, it should cover 3 times of whatever that employee is earning. That is the value of the group life insurance cover you should be purchasing for your employee. Now, what are the penalties for non-compliance? Number one, you are liable to make penalties, of course, and the penalty is not less than 2% of the total unpaid contributions for each month. So it doesn't mean that it's just the penalty. You will still pay what needs to be paid depending on when you're beginning your compliance, but you will still pay penalty of at least 2%, right, of what was unpaid from the time you were liable to do this as an employer. And also there is also the possibility of defaulted organizations facing criminal liability and also being potentially disqualified from participating in government contracts, So in summary, failure to comply attracts penalty. You are also likely to face criminal sanctions, and also you stand a chance of being disqualified for bidding for government contracts. So there you have it, how to obtain a PENCOM compliance certificate in Nigeria. I hope you found this useful. Now, if you need professional services or assistance as regards obtaining or processing a PENCOM compliance certificate for your company and employees, you can feel free to reach out to us through the contact information displayed on the screen. And also for general inquiries, you can also contact us through the contact details displayed on the screen. I hope you found a value from this video. If you did, like I said, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. This will help you get updates on more legal tips for doing business in Nigeria, right? And also feel free to like this video if it was very valuable to you, and also don't forget to share this video as well so that it can get to the hands of people who are in need of this information and we want to get enrolled into the pension compliance system in Nigeria. And until I come your way again, bye for now.